Hello and welcome to this exclusive pre-launch live stream of Cities VR Enhanced Edition for PlayStation VR2. We are streaming live from beautiful Stockholm. I'm Lucas Freid, and today I will be your host and moderator. Together with me, I have designer for Cities VR Enhanced Edition, Henning, and Leon, programmer at Cities Enhanced Edition. This stream is 100% dedicated to the PS VR2 version that is launching tomorrow. If you have any questions regarding any other versions of this game, please reach out to us through the social channels or the support email in the description. Because right now, we want to focus on the PS VR2 version and what makes this edition the ultimate City VR builder. But before we start, we really need to stop and celebrate something. I know, what kind of live stream is this? We stop before we start, everything is upside down. But today is a very special day in Sweden. Not only is it the day before the launch of Cities VR Enhanced Edition, we also celebrate this. And yes, it's a pastry, and yes, we do celebrate them in Sweden. We actually have several days in Sweden that we dedicate for pastries. And why, you ask? Well, because that's what we do. We drink coffee, we make great games, and we celebrate pastries. And this pastry dates back to the 1500s, so roughly 280 years before United States became a country. So try to wrap your head around that. What can you expect from this stream today, except, craving for pastries? Today we will talk about how to get started for building your first city, why you would want to play a city builder in VR, and what makes this edition the enhanced version. And of course, and most importantly, we will answer all questions you ask. If you comment and stay in stream, you will have the chance to win this amazing game. That's right, we're actually giving away 5 games during this stream. That's approximately 90 minutes. And during somewhere around 5:15, we will announce it live through a randomizing tool, so please stay tuned, okay? And if you don't want to leave things to chance, you can still go into the PSN store and pre-purchase it. And if you're a PS Plus member, you will get a 10% discount. So, Henning, after you picked up your PS VR2 headset, you installed Cities VR, where do you start?
Yeah, let's get my headset on. Here we go. So let's start from the very beginning, the main menu. Here we go into the new game section and choose a map. This one, for example. We can skip the tutorial for this time and use the day and night cycle. I'm not gonna play with any cheats or any modifiers. I'm just gonna try to do my best. And there we are.
So we got a question from Rick. How was it to work with the PSVR2 system? Was it harder or easier to develop for? It was kind of the same. Fortunately, the game itself was fairly standalone from the system. But then to work it into the actual PlayStation, you have a lot of fun tools to kind of implement and work with and kind of incorporate into the game itself. So I would say it wasn't particularly more difficult, but it necessarily wasn't more easier per se. It was kind of just similar, same.
You have a good time developing this game.
Yeah, it was fun. Working with the PlayStation system and the PlayStation VR2. getting to try out all these tools that they have, both for you as a player and for us to develop the game.
We can see here now Henning has started building. So what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm starting with placing some roads where my citizens can live. So let's just try to make a little strict. From here, let's place some residential buildings. Maybe there?
I'm just gonna go through some questions while you play as well.
Yeah, sure.
Which should we start with?
So I see a question. Does this game have platinum trophy? And yes, it does, right?
Yes, it does have a platinum trophy. So you will be able to earn a platinum trophy through this game. I don't remember in my head exactly what trophies we have and what the points distribution is, but there is a platinum trophy. I did see someone ask about the blinkers. I assume you mean the sort of black bars that you see on the side of Henning's view right now, which would be the vignette. And yes, you will be able to. We have a range of comfort options. So right now, I believe Henning is sitting with a snap rotation with a vignette. You'll be able to enable and disable the vignette, enable and disable the snap rotation, have smooth rotation, and we have different degrees of snap rotation as well. So depending on how comfortable you are with VR, or if you have a need for either for rotational vignettes and snapping, or if you need a vignette while moving, there'll be options available for you to sort of mix and match.
Okay.
How you.
So I would say that this game is very adoptable both for experienced VR players and people who play VR for the first time, maybe picking it up and just, seeing what the fuss is all about, right?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, we had a good question about from Armageddon.
If you can unlock all 25 tiles normally or only with the cheat options. You can unlock 9 of the 25 tiles. So there are 25 tiles for you as an option. If you play without the unlock all milestones option, you will have to work through the milestones to earn those tiles to be able to purchase them. Sort of like you get 1 per milestone as you progress. If you do have the option on, then you'll get all 9 unlockable immediately, and then you pick from those 25 tiles you have available.
Okay, cool. And yeah, somebody asked if you looked directly into the sun, will I go blind? No, you won't go blind playing in VR or looking at the sun. Thanks for asking. It's good to be safe. So, where are you at, Henning? How long have you...
Yeah,
How's the city going?
I just placed down some houses, and they are complaining about water and electricity. And I just put out a wind power plant, so the electricity seems to be fine. So I'm gonna give them some water.
Stockholm.
Put on.
Could Stockholm or a portion of it be recreated in the game? We do have a couple of maps that do have kind of more island structures, so you could make an archipelago sort of like Stockholm, but there isn't necessarily a specific layout exactly like the Stockholm area.
Okay. So if somebody would like to build Stockholm and then share it with us, you're more than welcome, and we'll find a good way to promote it for you, of course. Henning, are you pleasing your citizens? Are they happy?
They seem to be pretty happy right now. I can actually have a look right here. Okay, maybe they are not as happy as I thought.
So, if there's a tutorial at the start of the game, yes, there is a tutorial that go through the basics and how to play the game. We decided today to actually have Henning go through all the basic steps, because what a luxury to have a game designer here actually showing you how to play the game. So if you have any questions or you want him to explore or do anything, just write in the comments and we will look into it, okay?
So currently they are complaining about the sewage, so let's set that up.
So Henning, what makes this the enhanced edition compared to other versions of Cities VR?
Well, for one thing that's like really special is that you can unlock up to 9 tiles in a game. And it really, in VR, it really enhances the size, the feeling of the size of your city. So you can really get a sense of building a giant, enormous city.
Because there is, it's a bit different if you play on a flat screen or you play in VR. I don't know how many actually played VR games here, but it feels like you get something different. It's like you can play a game that you really loved, but when you step into VR and you take that leap, you're like, wow, I get to experience something new you might not have seen before. Like, yeah, kind of cool.
There was also a good question now from Murky and Ugg about what are these tiles. So if you jump up to the bird's eye view, you can see the dotted line. That is the current tile that Henning has available to build in. So if you look at the map outside, he essentially has 25 of those squares available to him technically, as soon as he unlocks that functionality. So 25 of those squares, 9 of those you'll be able to like unlock and have as an actual buildable area.
So, so for you who are joining, I just want to say that we also have a competition. We're giving away 5 keys today. So the only thing you have to do is comment in the live stream and you will be participating in this raffle. And we would like you all to stay as long as possible, of course, because we're giving away the key today, right? And I see that somebody says hi to me. Hi right back. Let's see, we have a good question. Let's see. Are there any improvements? We have a question from PC. Are there any improvements to the render distance?
There are some changes to render distance, yes. So you will have a bit less of a pop-in for for buildings. Or pop-in, but like popping in the meshes. So like when you go to a lower detailed mesh, for instance, that distance is increased, yes.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So back to you, Henning. How is it going with your sewage plants and power?
Everything is set for now, and people seem to be pretty happy. What I'm looking at right now is the demand for the different types of zones that you can place. And I can see that I have a high demand for industrial buildings. So I'm trying to expand some of that area.
How long does it usually take to build a big, thriving city? Because right now we're in tutorial mode, right? We're building from the ground up. It's like, how detailed can you be and how in-depth can you play the game?
It gets extremely in-depth eventually. And it takes some time to get there. So you can definitely play this for hours without getting bored.
We had a question from Nisufin, if there's any online features.
No, there are no online features.
Okay. Again, we're sitting here with Leon, the programmer for Cities VR Enhanced Edition, and the game designer Henning, playing Cities VR right now. So if you have any questions, please write them in the comments and we will answer them as soon as possible.
Right,
Okay.
so let's expand some of this residential area.
We had a question here. What is the largest population you guys have gotten a city? Remind me what your largest.
I think it was around 150K. So
Then that was also a city that hadn't like full.
exactly.
Yeah, so you can get a pretty large population.
Yeah, so we have some questions about headset haptics from Hayden Fox.
Yep. There are no headset. There are haptic controller. Put around and direct UI, you will have rumbles and like a nice bit of feedback. But the headset itself isn't using headset haptics currently.
Good to know.
Let's give this area some water as well.
So we have a question from Martin Larsson. Like, what are some upgrades we can expect in the Enhanced Edition for someone that has only played the Quest version? Again, circling back to what makes this the Enhanced Edition. And for you who just joined, let's talk a bit more about that again. What makes this the Enhanced Edition? And why should you pick this up and play a VR game? A city builder in VR.
Well, I mean, some of the things that have been updated and changed, for one, is UX or user experience. For those who have maybe seen or played the Quest version, you've noticed that the controllers look different. We've put an effort or put a large focus on making sure that if you are a new player to either VR or a new player to the game itself, then you should have an easier time getting into it, and you should have like everything you need to know as readily available to you as possible without having it being sort of in your face, kind of lots of information and text and popping up. So there's been a lot of work done to both on like getting larger areas and making the game look nice. We've also put a lot of effort into how you experience the game, how you get through it, and making sure that you will maybe struggle in the beginning with these kinds of games because of the nature of the game itself. But if you keep at it and if you try out and you learn the game mechanics and stuff like that, you should be able to like pick it up fairly easily.
So you have this like really nice onboarding for new players,
Yes.
but you also have this in-depth management, budgeting,
Yeah.
all the communal
Yeah.
fire departments, police, and stuff like that. So
Yes.
even so, it caters to a lot of people. And I saw that somebody asked how this is compared to SimCity 2000, and honestly, I don't know.
For a long time, I played SimCity 2000.
Oh yeah, a lot of things have happened in the simulator city builder
yeah.
sphere since then. So yeah,
I think there are some things that you can sort of feel might be a bit familiar, although a bit more upgraded. I also just saw the comment about the 150K citizens is that is an amazing number and hours of fun. That is of course only on a specific set of 9 tiles, so you can of course have different formations of the tiles in each map, and I believe we have, how many maps was it?
12 of them, I believe.
Yeah, so 12 maps, 9 out of 25 tiles that you can rearrange every time you play. So you're gonna have a lot of options on how to build, where to build, and what to build.
oh, that sounds amazing. A lot of hours of fun. That's the most important thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, Henning. I see that you are, how do you say, walking the streets and checking on our citizens.
Yeah, this is one of the amazing parts of playing the game in VR, actually being on the ground and seeing the city from the eyes of your citizens.
Can I ask you, can you check what the name of the person is walking on the street?
Oh, you definitely can.
Oh, cool. Who's that?
So here we have Sophie Davis, an
Okay.
uneducated adult.
Oh, do you need to build a school?
Oh yeah, I probably need to do that. Let's do that immediately.
Hey, you unlocked the milestone, yeah?
Yeah, I just unlocked one of the milestones, which allows me to build an elementary school.
Oh,
So let's place that here, somewhere in the middle, so everyone can take part of it.
And what was that green area you saw when you placed the...
It's the reach of the school. So it gives an indication of how far the people will be able to go or reach.
Mm.
Uh,
I actually noticed that I have a bit of an electricity problem as well. So I probably need to produce more electricity, and here I can use the budget part of the game and actually increase it, which increases the productivity of the windmill.
Are you sped up right now? We
So-
got a question about fixing speeds and control for speed.
Here we have the speed settings in the game. So here you can pause, play, then speed it up.
You can also use the controller thumbstick.
Exactly.
Do that instantly. Have an indicator that shows what your current speed is.
Okay. So if I would like to see how large the population of your city is right now, how do I do that in an easy way?
Then you open the city menu, and here you can see your income and your current, the amount of money you have. And here you have the population and how much it's growing at the moment.
Okay.
I can also see the general happiness of my citizens here.
And they seem decent. You're a good mayor. I can see that.
Yeah.
Everyone seems pretty happy.
Yeah, pretty happy.
So, when you started building now, you started with the roads, right? Or where did you actually start building your city?
Yeah, I started with the roads connecting the game to the city to the highway, because this is where all your citizens will travel to and from your city. So I connected that up, and then I started building residential buildings, which allows the citizens to have a place to live. After that, I made sure that I had electricity and water so they could live. And then I started building places, industrial zones where they can go and work. So these ones, I can actually open this and we see the colors, the orange ones. And the blue ones are places where they can both work and spend their money and buy stuff.
Okay. Like a shopping district.
Exactly.
Oh. Can you go down to the shopping district and see what we can get?
Sure thing.
Oh.
So it's a bit of everything. What's this? Japanese cuisine,
Oh.
pancakes, everything you need.
That is the full cycle right there. Burgers, lots of burgers. Can we remove traffic lights and stop signs?
Yes, we can.
Jean Mello, would you like us to remove a stop sign?
We actually don't have any stop signs
Okay.
right now. But we could, for example, add a traffic light right here. There we go. I'm actually having a bit of a problem with garbage right now, so I'm gonna make a garbage dump.
Oh. Is your city growing too fast? Or is it growing in a good pace?
It's growing in a decent pace, I think. It has electricity, perfect. Now we should see the garbage trucks go out.
You want to pick a question?
Yeah. There's a question about, are there different seasons in this game? There aren't seasons per se, but you do have a selection of biomes. So you have, I believe the one Henning is currently playing on is a temperate biome. You can see there's a lot of, I believe those are oak trees. You also have a more Nordic kind of climate with a lot of pine trees, and I believe they're called pine trees in English at least. And then you also have a tropical kind of biome, so you'll have a lot more palm trees and things like that.
Okay, that's very nice. Then you can try to replicate your city as close as possible and get it kind of feeling like Stockholm or maybe Miami if you want to get get that feeling of get away from reality for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are two questions now about services. One is, are there police and fire services you have to employ? Yes. As Henning is playing through with milestones, having to unlock milestones, you'll sort of slowly progress through the milestones and they'll unlock more services. So you start off fairly simple with garbage, basic healthcare, and basic schools. And then as he progresses, he'll start to unlock fire departments, police stations, different like levels of those as well. There are garbage incinerator, which was another question there, that is later on. Better forms of power creation or power generation, I should say.
What type of power generations do you have in this game?
There are a few different kinds. You start off with the windmill and a coal power plant. So you do have an option, like they both have their strengths and weaknesses. So like a windmill will only generate a certain amount of power, a lower amount, but of course it's greener, so you don't have to worry about pollution, which is a thing in this game that you have to consider when you build your city. Where is pollution being generated? Industrial zones, for instance, generate a lot of pollution. While, for instance, a coal power plant does generate pollution, but you'll also get more power out of it.
So why should I care about this in the game? Will this affect my citizens or?
Yes. So pollution, for instance, having housing near polluted sites, for instance, will make your citizens sick. Having pollution, for instance, having water towers in a polluted area will make the water network in your city polluted, and that will make them sick. And of course, there's also noise generation, which is to say, industry buildings will generate a lot of noise, and if you have citizens living near that, eventually they'll also get a bit of a headache from that. So there's a lot of negatives to the pollution that you kind of have to balance with how much, like having an actual production in your city.
Okay. You really need to think, because there are things to battle this out, right?
Yes.
How would you plan this in a good way? And I guess we might show that a bit later, right?
Yeah, we might show a larger pre-made city later on. Some things you can do, for instance, is of course having planning out your city in a way where you'll have these kind of polluting areas, maybe a bit away from living areas. But then, of course, at the same time, having them too far away will make it difficult for citizens to actually get to work. So you have to kind of balance how far away can a citizen's residential area be from an industrial place where they're working because they need to get to work. But if it's too close, then that might make them sick. So you actually have to have sort of like plan a bit around that, having buffers and maybe having like commercial zones in between and stuff like that.
Okay. Otherwise, you mean they're not happy just commuting as far as, how to say, as far?
Well, they can commute. However, the public transport is a thing you unlock later on. So you do have the option for buses and metro stations. Of course, that can cause traffic congestion in the case of buses, and in the case of metros, those trains can be pretty loud.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. Okay, let's see. Let's take some questions. So if you're just joining, Henning is playing the first part of Cities VR Enhanced Edition for PlayStation VR2. So we decided to skip the tutorial part and just jump into playing the game. And Henning is our designer for the game. So if you have any questions regarding anything about this version, please let us know in the comments. And if you have questions about other versions of the game, you can find how to contact us through the social channels or through our support mail in the description. Okay, so how's it going, Henning? We've been talking a lot here.
It's going great. I just unlocked a new milestone, which unlocked both a police station and a fire station. So, and I just got some problems with that. So I placed them right here. So now they will hopefully take care of the city.
Hopefully.
But everything seems fine right now. So now I'll mostly focus on expanding it.
We had a question: if I build a dam for hydroelectric power, will the water level even out, or will it dam up and form a lake? We do not have hydroelectric dams currently. However, if you do manage to sort of dam up a waterway, the water will actually kind of stop and dam up. So I think Henning's map now, for instance, has a bit of water going through between two island areas. So if you were to dam that area up, where it's having an inlet, you can actually like stop the water from going that way. So there is like an actual water physics.
Cool.
I see what you did there.
Sorry, I had, you know, I had to at least get one pun in there.
Yeah.
That's how we roll. So, yeah. Henning, are the police doing its job?
Yeah, I'm getting no warning symbols for crime right now, so everything seems to be going well. So I'm just focusing on expanding stuff. I can see that I have some residential demands, so I just made a new zone right here. So I'm gonna see houses building here.
Henning, you might be able to answer this question by maybe showing it. You don't happen to need to build any like tunnels or elevated roads right now?
No, they cost a lot of money, but you can definitely do it though. But since I'm not playing with sheets, I'm trying to save money for other stuff. But I can raise the road and lower it underground, make tunnels like this.
And for the last part of that question about roundabouts, yes, you can either make your own roundabouts using the curving tool for the roads, but there are also a few options for pre-made roundabouts. So you could place a roundabout that's already been pre-made and just hook it up to your road network.
We got a question regarding, can you walk and drive a VR? Can you fly a plane, and etc.?
Well, I mean, you can walk amongst your citizens. You can't drive any vehicles, though. So neither cars or planes or any of the sort. But you can definitely get down to ground level and walk around with them.
So back to you, Henning. Are you visiting our citizens?
Yeah, exactly. I'm walking along the commercial district, seeing how everyone is doing. But I'm gonna focus on expanding. I'm still having a bit of an electricity problem, as you can see right here. So I'm probably gonna have to produce some more.
So what type of power will you produce now to keep our citizens happy?
I'm still focusing on the windmills, even though the coal power plant is probably gonna produce more. But I don't want to pollute too much.
You're building a fairly green city.
Yes. Indeed.
Let's see.
So I'm getting some more industrial demand right here. I got a new milestone.
Oh!
Let's view it. I can now build parks in a high school. Awesome.
Keeping our citizens educated.
Let's build a nice park then.
Or do that instead.
Or do that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I don't care
Leisure
about
time
the...
is more important.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Let's place that here.
There were some questions about DLCs. There are updates planned for future content. We don't want to say exactly what that is right now, but we will like continue to update and improve upon the game after release as well.
Great to know. So stay tuned.
Yes.
More to come.
As for the questions about more homes, different commercial zones or industrial zones, as you progress through the game, you will unlock other types of, as you call them, density zones. Currently, Henning has the low density and industrial stuff. So low density residential, low density commercial, and industrial. Once you've gotten a bit through the game, you can also unlock high density residential, high density commercial, and offices. The difference then being that they will be more apartment style structures or skyscrapers, which have their own, again, pros and cons to them. Offices, for instance, don't generate pollution, but do generate industrial work, while things like high-density residentials allow more people to live in a smaller area, but they might not necessarily have children, so you won't have that sort of generational upgrades where they go through the different levels of school.
Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of impact then, I guess, depending on if you have a higher density. Are there any more impacts?
Well, like I said, like if you have a high density residential area, you'll have more people living in that area, but they might be adult or young adults that are educated or uneducated. So you'll have a larger workforce, but then they might not have children. And the way that education works in this game is that each stage of life has its own set of education. So a child can go to elementary school, but an adult can't. So if you want to have higher educated citizens, you'll of course have to make sure that they live in the city from childhood up until they're an adult.
I see.
So those high residential areas won't have that opportunity because they won't produce as many children necessarily. Because you don't want to have a lot of children in a small apartment.
Fair enough. I see what you did there. Okay. So I just wanted to say that, just so you know, if you're just joining, we also have a competition. So just comment in the section and you will be able to win one of 5 keys for Cities VR Enhanced Edition. So, and we will do that on a randomizer. So yeah, stay tuned.
There was a question about how do you fail in the game and have to restart? Can that happen? Yes, that can happen. The way that happens is if you run out of money, simply put. Henning right now, I think, has a pretty stable economy. Yeah, he's like 1,300 positive. Of course, that can go down to the negative if you don't balance your budget, balance your taxes, stuff like that. There are ways to sort of help. There are up to 3 different kinds of loans you can take in the game that have probably different amounts of money that you will get, but they also have different rates you have to pay back. So you still have like that sort of continuous payment if you take them until you've paid the whole thing back. So you could end up in a situation where you take those bank loans, but you don't either reach back up into the green or you can't pay them back eventually.
Okay, interesting. Let's see. Henning, back to you. What are you building?
Right now I'm still expanding. Everything is going well, I think. I could probably try to make a high school, but I'm not sure if I can afford it though.
I think you're 4,000 out.
Yes.
We did get a question about traffic flow. Can you see how your traffic is flowing?
Definitely. Here I can see it. So the green indicates that it's good, and it goes more towards a red color if it's starting to get heavy on the traffic. So I can see right here that it's slightly more reddish. And it's probably because all of the trucks need to go to the factories.
So, since we decided not to play the tutorial and have Henning play it for us instead and explaining what we're doing, what could you expect from the tutorial? Like, what do you actually do during the tutorial phase and, you know, onboarding?
The tutorial mostly sets you up with the basics of the game. So you learn how electricity and water works, and you learn how to balance the demands for the different types of zones. And then we mostly leave it up to the player after that to learn how to public transport works, or schools, or fires, and stuff like that. We don't try to hold the player's hand too much, but still giving them enough to be able to make a successful city.
But of course, we also then have we make use of the PlayStation Game Hub, one of those things. So if you encounter a problem, you'll be able to go into the PlayStation hub, or how do you say, the overlay, and you'll be able to access a game help. They'll tell you like, oh, it looks like your town is on fire. Would you like help to make it not be that? So there are some things, and for the more in-depth stuff that you might be interested in, there is an in-game game help as well in the pause menu. I don't know if Henning is able to show that right now, or if you're removing energy pylons.
The game help.
Yes.
Yeah. So here you have everything that you can possibly think of. So let's say that I don't have enough educated workers, then I can, or maybe residential zones, I want to know how they work. Then I can read it right here. So it should cover most of the game, so you know how to, where to find the information, how to solve the problems you might encounter.
That's great.
Yeah.
Then you can find whatever you want and keep on exploring.
Yeah.
And building the city of your dreams, right?
Yeah. So we will make sure, we've tried to make sure that yeah, it is. We've tried to make sure that should you need help, there should be some form of help accessible to you to sort of explain things. And of course, the examples Henning showed now were some of the more basic stuff. In the other tabs that were at the top of that screen, you'll have more in-depth explanations, and some of the text will go a bit more into details about certain stuff.
Okay, cool. We had a question regarding if it runs in 90 FPS.
Yes, I believe it runs towards 120. That's the part. Do you remember, Henning?
I can't exactly remember.
Yeah. It does definitely run at a higher frame rate. So, and I know there was a question early on about if the frame rate drops a lot when you unlock more tiles. No, we've had pretty large cities and we haven't had any frame rate drops. Like we've made sure to keep the game as stable as possible throughout the entire experience. So you shouldn't experience any sort of frame related issues.
Nice, very nice. It feels very important when you're playing VR that you have a smooth experience.
Yes, it is. It is not fun being motion sick in VR. So we're trying to make sure. Same thing with the vignettes and the snap turning and everything like that. Just trying to make sure that you have as smooth and as nice of an experience as possible while playing.
Great. And again, if you're just joining, Henning, the game designer for Cities VR Enhanced Edition here, is here to take your questions as you play through the first milestones of the game. So yeah, take your time and ask any questions you want, specifically to this PS VR2 version that is launching tomorrow. Back to you, Henning.
Yes, so we're slowly expanding. It's starting to be quite a city, I think.
Now, you've unlocked the first tile, right?
Oh yeah, I have.
So you could jump up and show them how that looks.
Let's do that. So here we go. This is my current tile, so I can build in all of this whole area. And if I want to, I can now buy a new tile, which allows me to build on all of that as well. I can actually do that if my money allows it. Yeah.
Ooh, barely. You will have enough to work later, expand later?
Yeah, let's do that later then. And I believe we're gonna show off some of that later as well.
Yeah, I have a town that I've been working on that's a few tiles bigger. That of course has been using the unlock everything and the ultimate unlimited money stuff. So you'll be able to see, if you don't want to go through the milestones and go through that part of the gameplay, you can play through that instead and just build things. There is also a question I just noticed. Can we add yield signs as well as can we change directional arrows on roads? There are one-way roads that you can change the flow of traffic. Of course, those roads only go one way. And Henning did show off a bit earlier what we call the junctions. And part of that has stop signs, which essentially work as yield signs. So putting a stop sign onto an intersection will make it so that the cars coming from that way will stop if there's any other oncoming traffic from any other side of that intersection. So you can actually get pretty detailed on how the traffic will flow in your city.
You can go into real detail and just get it just the way you would like to have your own city working, I guess.
Yes.
That's also a very in-depth feature. So I saw someone asking, how big is our development team for Cities VR? And how's it?
We're not a big team. we're a bit of a smaller team, but comparatively, of course, than some development places. But yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. We answered, let's see, on-screen controller does not seem to resemble the sense.
Yes, they don't resemble the sense controller, but is it intuitive as to how the buttons are mapped? Yes. So the buttons you see on the controller that Henning is using in-game are mapped to the positions of the buttons on the actual controller itself. That was part of the thing we wanted to make sure that players can get into the game quick and easy, regardless if you're used to VR or not. So you'll be able to, like, at a quick glance, just look down at your controller, and then you'll see where the buttons will be roughly on the, or I say roughly, but like almost exactly on where the actual controller is. So you'll be able to find them fairly easily.
Good. Hope that answers your question. Are we able to go into Street View again and check on our citizens? How are they doing?
Oh.
I think you ended up in a hedge.
There we go. I just placed a high school in the town because I have a lot of symbols complaining that there's not enough educated workers. So I'm trying to raise their education level by placing one of these. And it currently has 481 students, so I would say that it's pretty successful.
So, are we able to change from right traffic to left traffic? Or will they always drive on the right side?
No, it's a right-hand traffic city. Or every city will be right-hand traffic.
Okay. So Henning, back to you. Are the people happy that they're getting educated, or do you have to wait a bit to see the effect of your high school?
It might take a little while, but it should be go pretty fast. Yeah, we'll see if these symbols disappear as we go. Yeah, so one just did, so one just became more educated.
So we're trying to play to the second milestone, that's right?
No, we passed that.
We passed that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time to show a bigger city, or should we wait a bit? What do you think?
We can jump to the larger city if
Yeah,
feels.
let's do that.
All right.
Yeah, so let's do that. So Henning, our designer for Cities VR Enhanced Edition, has currently been playing the first part of the Cities VR instead of the tutorial. And now we're going to move to a pre-made city constructed by Leon, our programmer for Cities VR Enhanced Edition. So we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to be back. So yeah, stay tuned. Yes, and we're back, and together I have Henning here joining me instead of Leon, and we are looking into a pre-constructed city made by Leon. So, what are we looking at?
Right now, the main menu, well, I'll just go ahead and load into the map itself. There we go.
Wow,
So,
this is a really big and impressive city.
bust up.
Definitely.
So yeah, this is a one of the cities I've been working on for a bit. It currently uses, I believe, we have 5 tiles currently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles. Never mind. And you can see I have more options as well along the edge if I want to buy and expand more. So if I jump back down, yeah, this is currently I think 20,000, yeah, roughly 20,000 almost population. The economy in this city is trash, mainly because I am playing with unlimited money and I have everything unlocked from the beginning. So I haven't really bothered with the economy, so to speak. But you could, of course, play the game properly and reach this kind of size without having 86,000 in depth. But yeah, you have a few little suburban areas, one kind of a bit away from downtown. You have the main town area, a little bit of a public transport hub down here with a few metro lines, as well as this sort of above ground option. I'm gonna jump back down here so you can see I have this kind of above ground rail going around the entire city. Buses going about. There are some places that need more educated workers, but currently I have a bunch of schools currently working on that, as well as this little industrial zone over here. A bunch of different industries.
So we got a question. So this is one big map, right? But reaching this, hopefully I understand this question correctly, but to reach this size of city, are there any necessary things I need to do? It's like, do I have to develop communal transport polices, or can I just build freely?
You kind of have to, or you don't have to. The only thing you have to do is play the game as your population grows. As long as you're developing a good city or a city that people are happy with, that makes them want to move in, your population will grow, and as your population grows, you'll unlock all of the other stuff. So getting to this point, it's just a matter of like playing the game, essentially.
Playing the game, unlocking the things, and learning how the mechanics works.
Yes.
So I have a really important question for you.
Yeah.
Have you named the city?
I have not.
How can you not have named the city? It's the most important thing.
It's also the most difficult thing, let's be real. If you've ever done anything, naming the thing you've made, that's the most difficult.
Oh well. So if anyone has an idea what we should name Leon City, just write in the comments and we will just name it that.
No, sounds good.
Sounds about right. So, the weather in Stockholm is really snowy, right? So I'm considering moving away for the winter. Does your city offer affordable living? Because
yeah, we have a few different options. So like you can get in on the sort of suburban areas. You have a sort of seaside suburban area over here if you want that. There's a hillside suburbs over here, more traditional or hillside suburbs over there. If you want apartments, there's a bunch of different, like all of these are apartments. Or if you want to be really like solitary, there is this sort of small forested kind of area set up here. A bunch of little houses, so you want to have like a little cottage out in the middle of nowhere like this.
did you build that just for me, Leon?
Sure.
Is somebody living there or can I actually buy that?
I believe there are some people living here. So let's see. Yep, there is a young adult and taking care of their grandparents currently.
Oh well, I have to wait until it's available then.
Yep.
I'm just going to say that again, that we also have a competition, so just write anything in the comments and you will be able to win one of 5 keys for Cities VR Enhanced Edition for PS VR2 that is launching tomorrow.
Maybe make that thing a name for this city.
Yeah, we also have, we only have 1 suggestion, so we have 2 suggestions. So again, if you have a suggestion for the city, we have until the end of the live stream. So yeah, just keep them coming. I think Semmelville is nice.
That is a nice name. That is a very appropriate name currently.
Semmel City, there we have it.
Yeah.
Very important. Rafika City, that works in Swedish though.
Yeah. That would also be good.
So Leon, could we see the city center in the eyes of a citizen?
You want me to go into the depths of the city and walk around a bit?
Definitely.
All right, then let's do that. Go down here, then we'll start by the seaside maybe. Just go through this more... Really, this is a residential zone. So there's a bunch of apartments around here. I also believe we have a little bit of a special decoration over here that I kind of built around. If we go down this path here, maybe like a bunch of trees and bushes and old remnants of ancient times, buildings.
So we got a question from Francesca. Can we flood the city?
This particular part, I think, is a bit too far up from the water. If you manage to build something down by closer to the water area, you do have to be careful if you, for instance, pump a lot of sewage into that area, or if you do anything where the water flow kind of changes, which you can do with pumping station and sewage treatment plants, you can actually flood city areas.
Huh.
So there are like you'll get like a little problem notification that goes like, "Hey, my basement's flooded. Stop this." Yeah. Go over here. We'll find another station for the above ground tram station.
So Henning, we got questions regarding if there's any DLCs or anything. We had those questions before, but we haven't written it. So
yeah, currently there's no DLC content in the game, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us, and then you will get all the updates. You can either follow the game on PSN or you can follow our socials. You can find them down in the description. Yeah, so back to you, Leon.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the city and all the tall buildings that I should not strain my neck for.
So if I would like to see how large your population is for this city. How would I do that?
Well, you can either open this menu here and you'll see the total population. You also have the option for a more sort of rundown of your population stats. So here we can see the total population, the employment, the available jobs, the unemployment rates, and the distribution of like the different kind of age rates, as well as births and deaths per week. So you do have a lot of information in these kind of in-view areas. I think I just clicked on someone. Yes, Oliver Hunter, an uneducated child. And then, of course, you have other things like if you want to go through your education, and you can see the sort of map turns white when I click on these. That's to highlight different things. So if I click this, I'll be able to see, you know, these are the areas that are currently being reached by my education system, and the purple buildings are the type of building I'm looking at. This looks bad, I know. Don't worry, I have public transport, so all of these people can reach that building through public transport. So there are buses and stuff going through the entire city. If I go in here, you can see like there's a fair bit of public transport going around.
Is that the railway?
Yes, so it's a mix. Some of these things are buses going through, and then these are railways. The sort of blackened area are metro tunnels. And then this area here is the sort of main sort of round tram, I guess.
Are we able to go a bit closer and see it live?
Yes, if I jump back down here, we can look at the train. There's a train right here now, the red line. Going to next station, that's good. So we can see anything that's above ground, you can have a peek at and sort of look at what's going on. Down here, there's a train over here as well. It's going away. Of course, these trains go both above and below ground. So right now, these stations are above ground. There are a few below ground stations dotted around the city as well. I think there is one over here. So you can see that people will be coming up and down from that. But of course, you can also, if you want to have more trains visible, you can put down tracks like this and just watch trains go by. They'll be able to go in and out of tunnels and up and down their own set of overpasses. I have one right here.
You talked about low density and high density city parts, right?
Yes.
Are we able to have a look at that right now? Because
yes.
this looks very dense.
Yeah, so this looks very dense. If I go into here, you can see these areas are low density. You can see that by the lighter green color. So these are low density residential areas or residential buildings. If I go more into here, you can see these more dark green areas. These are the high density residentials. So that would be this option instead, high density.
So we can see that there's a lot of people here, but we got a question. Are there any animals or is it just people?
There are animals. I don't know if we can catch one right now, but there are dogs that will walk with people around your cities. There are also wild animals. We might catch a seagull somewhere if we're lucky. But there are also other types of wild animals that will come up, not inside of densely populated areas like this. They'll usually stay out of. You might have some peeking in from time to time. But usually out in more of a wilderness area, you might catch, I think, elk is one of the options. Might pop its head out.
Do you have cats as well, or is it just dogs?
You do. I think you do have. We do have big cats. We have cougars that can prowl in certain biomes.
No domestic cats.
No
cats.
domestic cats. No. But definitely dogs. Big dogs will be walking around. I'm just not having any luck with any person owning a dog in this city right now. I guess there's too many apartments. They don't want to have big dogs in those.
Makes sense.
But yeah, oh wait, there's one. There you go.
Oh, there's a doggo.
Yeah, you'll have these little guys walking about with their owner. course. You can click on it and you can see it's following. Went into the building. Oh,
Ran
that's
away.
the building. Probably the owner went into. Yep, there they go. Fashionable fashion shop. That's
Sounds very fashionable.
yeah, that's good. Perfect distribution on the education level of the workers as well. Almost like I know what I'm doing.
So, have you built any shopping districts?
There are a few kind of shopping districts. Yes, I usually when I play, I do shopping sort of streets or avenues. So this whole area or this whole road is one big shopping area district. Over here you have sort of around the main public transport area. These are all shops. Everything that's this shade of blue are shops. This more cyan color is offices. So they're the upgraded or the density version of industrial zones. So these generate jobs, but they don't generate the pollution like the areas over there. But yeah, so I usually go by this sort of way of building it, where I have more residential zones, and then I have shopping streets, kind of small hubs for shopping or along large roads.
I gotta ask, what type of power is powering this city?
Right now, this city is actually powered by nuclear power primarily. I do have an oil power plant and a coal power plant as well, but I think this is the thing that's generating most of the power. And you can see here, of course, there's some I put down some industrial zones down here as well, mainly for decoration because I think it looks nice. But yeah, so these are powering the city, and then the pylons are going all the way there and all the way into the area there.
So if I wanted to check the noise level of this, how would I do that?
I can go into here and I can choose this noise pollution. You can see here, everything that's red is a noisy area. You can see the highway, of course, is really noisy. The train stations are pretty noisy. This sort of area is pretty noisy because there's a lot of large roads and the main sort of round train. And then the industrial zone, of course, is really noisy because there's a lot of industrial buildings and factories and stuff making a lot of sound. These areas that aren't as noisy are mainly residential areas. So that's, like I said earlier, that's a thing you have to keep in mind. Like if you build a residential area, keep in mind where the noise is being generated, because these guys will get noise sick from too much like.
I have one more question about this. So the prices for houses, for example, if you build a suburban area, is that connected to the noise pollution?
Yes. Well, you don't have to care about housing prices necessarily as the mayor, but you can actually look at the land value. So you can see all that is green here is a higher land value than the area over here, for instance. That's a grayish color, which is low, and the blue is kind of in the middle. Pollution, noise pollution, all that kind of stuff will have an impact on the land value. Even such a thing like proximity to a shoreline will make an area more desirable. So these areas are blue despite not having anything built on them because they're close to the water, and having a waterside residence is a pretty nice thing to have.
Makes sense. I have 2 questions from our comments. So, can it rain in the game? Rain, you know.
Rain. No, currently it cannot rain.
Can you have solar power in the game?
Yes, you can. That is part of the, I just realized how many cars there are here. Oh my god. I need to fix that later on. You can have, so part of the electricity options you have, I use the nuclear power plant right now. The more environmental friendly option would be this solar array instead. You can see as well as I'm holding it out, this sort of red circle that's around the building. That's where the noise pollution is being created. So this building will create noise pollution in this sort of red circle. And you can see building next to roads. If I more so jump over to somewhere around here, I'll be able to actually place it. I'll have to demolish some stuff for it, but I could place it down here and it'll start generate power for me.
Great. We still have a question if we have picked a name for the city. No, we have not picked a name. So if you would like to name the city, just write in the comments. I think we have 3 or 4 suggestions. But again, we have 15 minutes left roughly to stream. So yeah, hey, Hayden Fox, just shout out a name, and maybe it's your name we're gonna pick. Who knows?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna now keep building here. If there's any other questions, just let me know.
So since we have a pretty large pre-built city, if you wanted to see any specific buildings or, you know, constructions, just let us know and we will look into it.
Yeah, and with me having everything unlocked, you know, we can just look at a little bit of everything. Good? No.
So another question here. Can you create districts just like in City Skylines? You can't make districts, but we'll see what the future brings.
Okay. Exciting. And the best way to get updates about this game is, of course, to engage with it on PS Store, wishlist, follow it, or follow our social channels. And then you will, of course, get all the updates running. That's how we communicate with you guys. So let's see, what kind of... we have Virtual Land, Knäckebrödhult, Semmel City, and Sonopolis, Reality City, and Rexington. Well, it's your city, Leon, so you get to decide. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of feeling Semmel City considering the day. Kind of feels appropriate.
Yeah. If you just joined us for some reason or missed the intro of this live stream, today is a Semmel Day in Sweden, which is very, very important. And that is why we have these pastries that you can't see. They actually date back to the 1500s, roughly 280 years before the United States was a country. So that's kind of fun fact to know, right? So Semmel City it is, just to honor this pastry that we celebrate here.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, Semmel City it is. Oh, sorry, we missed Euphoria City. Euphoriaville Village, sorry.
That's also a really good one.
It is. Okay, so what are you building right now?
Right now I'm putting down more residential areas, just because I have this sort of really nice shoreline sort of area. So I'm putting down some low density residents. And I'm choosing low density because while having a lot of people might sound like a good idea at first, like having, you know, big apartment buildings everywhere, you kind of want to sort of level it out because, like I said, these buildings, as great as they are, generally speaking, they will have a lot more uneducated and educated people in the beginning. And they won't generate as many children. So like right now there are like, 3 children, 6 children. These are upgraded, so they have a bit more. But here you see there's no children at all. Or sorry, 2 children. So they don't have children. But these places need educated workers, which means I need to have children that have gone through the education system. So to balance that out, having both high density for a lot of workforce and low density for children that can go to school is a good thing to keep in mind.
Okay, so you're a pretty experienced city builder in VR. So how long did it take for you to build this city, roughly?
I think this city, considering I have, like I said, all the everything unlocked and unlimited money, I could just start building. This took, I think, about 13 hours maybe total, sort of on and off, 13 to 14 hours. And that's just like, it's this area here and these little small pockets. I still have all of this area I could build on, all of that area I could build on. There's a whole area over here, all of this, all of that. If I buy that tile, because again, I'm only on 7 of 9 tiles, I could also go up into this area and build if I want to do that and make some crazy roads going through the mountains over here. So this area is 13 to 14 hours on and off.
Oh, wow. Good job. It looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So we only actually have 10 minutes left of this stream. Time goes by really fast when you're having fun, right? So if you have any questions about Cities Beyond Enhanced Edition for the PS VR2, just write in the comments and we will answer it before we end this live stream. And if for some reason you have questions afterwards, just find us on the social or send us an email on the support email and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now back to you, Leon.
Yes, I just noticed that there's some garbage problems piling up. Oh, look at that. Talking about noise pollution. Citizens are not feeling too well because of noise pollution in the area. Make sure there's healthcare available. So I guess that's because they're living right next to one of my metro stations. That will do that to you. Let's see, where's the closest healthcare providers? Over there in a hospital. Yeah, we might want to put down a small medical clinic somewhere more nearby. Let's just demolish that little bit of industry. They're all happy because of that. That takes care of that. So yeah, and the garbage there, that's a whole different issue. I'm gonna try to fix real quick because who likes garbage pile up? Gotta keep the city clean.
So a couple of questions came in. Is there terraforming? No, there's not. But like before, we'll see what the future brings. So stay tuned. And Leon, maybe you can show this. Is it possible to place bus transportation stations? And is it possible to set them on the roadside without having to destroy anything?
Yes, let me just put this down so I don't forget. Garbage dump. Actually, let's do a quick one of those. Yes, you can. So for a bus station, the first thing once you unlock it is you'll unlock this bus depot, and then you'll have to put that down before you can actually start putting bus lines. But once you have that, you'll unlock this bus line tool, and all you have to do really is you choose the area you want to put down a bus lines. Like say over here, you can see this little dot going that's sort of snapping along the road. I'll just click somewhere here, and that creates the first part of a line. I just then go down the road and then find another area. I might want to place a stop here by the metro so they can get to that easy. I'll just click, and then that's now the first section of my line, and then I'll just keep doing that for as long as I want to, or that I feel it should go. And then once I'm done, the important thing is once you have your buses going where you want them to, you actually have to return back to the start and click that again so you complete the line. So it has to be a full loop. You can, like I've done with some of these metro areas, you can go back and forth. That technically counts as a loop, even if it's like just one way back and forth. But the important part is you start and stop at the same location.
And another question, are there difficulty levels in the game? No, there's not. You kind of set your own difficulty by choosing to use like unlimited money or unlock everything from the start. And then you just kind of set your own goal. Like, do you want the perfect city, or do you want like...
replicate Stockholm or your hometown, exactly. Or the town you grew up in, trying to build your own perfect city.
Exactly.
There's a lot of freedom, but with responsibility, I guess.
Yes.
But the creating part, like you said, is the most fun part. The hard part is naming it, right?
Yeah.
Naming your creation. But if you pick your hometown, you can just name it that, and then you're happy, right?
Yes.
The difficult part is over. So yeah, we only have 5 minutes left. So I'm thinking maybe we should pick a winner. What do you say? Let's pick some winners. We're giving away 5 codes. So if you have, I'm going to give you roughly 30 seconds to send a comment. If you send a comment, you're automatically in the raffle. You can just be hi or go Cities VR. And it doesn't matter if you do one or several. It's only going to take one of your comments. So yeah. So Leon, are you able to control day and night?
No, I can speed up the time, of course, which will increase the time itself. Or when you start the map, you have the option to turn off the day-night cycle. So you'll be able to play in a perpetual daytime sort of city. So if you don't want to have this sort of day and night cycle, then turning that off, you'll just have midday all day, essentially.
Great. Somebody asked if we can attack a rival city, and I think that's probably a different game.
Yeah, that is. We make cities, we don't destroy them. Well, I guess, depending on how well you do.
Yeah. So I think everyone who wants to be able to win a code has commented, so we can pick a winner. We're just going to wait a bit. So let's get back to Leon. Are you building more stuff?
Yeah, I'm having the residential area sort of building up right now, and I am going to put down another elementary school down here so that this area is covered. I could put down more public transport and just transport them away to the nearest school, but each school actually has a student capacity, so I kind of want to make sure that there are multiple schools all throughout. Of course, I could just go ahead and make this pretty. If I go into here, I can put down some little roads and trees and details around it. If I want to do that, at the cost of losing real estate. Do a little bit of a like that.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Down a little bit like that. That looks nice. Actually, let's put some more bushes down here. This felt kind of like a bit boring with just
So another question, Leon.
Mm-hmm.
Can you unleash natural disasters again?
No, there are no natural disasters. Like mentioned earlier, in areas like this where you have sort of a waterway, if you manage to block them, you can sort of stop water from flowing, and then you could open that up to have it flood. Or in areas like here, these buildings have sort of leveled the ground a bit more higher up, but on some maps, they can get really close down to the water level. And in those cases, messing around with water, with the water in the world may cause flooding. We could do that as a fun little thing. Why not? Because you could just go ahead and put down a bit of a sewage thing, and then accidentally, whoops, I hooked it up to the rest of the world. Oh, it needs electricity. Now that's suddenly, oh no. And now I've flooded everyone's basement. Keep in mind where you put water. It can go bad.
So we're actually reaching the end of our stream. We only have a couple of minutes left, but I've picked, no, there's been a randomized pick of winners. So I'm going to announce them now before the live stream is over. So yeah, the winners are, drum rolls. Okay, we have Brown Enterprise, John Mello, PC, Crayish, and Dream Tim. Congratulations, you are the winners. We're going to send you a PSVR Cities VR Enhanced Edition PSVR2 to you. So stay in the comments. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to ask what region you play on, and I'm just going to send you a code. So for everyone who's joined the live stream and had a lot of fun with us, I want to thank you, and I hope that you will enjoy our game.
Thank you.
Any final words?
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game as much as we did making it.
Yeah. So with that said, have a great evening. Now I can finally have my semla, right?